40,000 Las Vegas casino employees face being fired. Hotel occupancy dropped 3 months in a row, with 5.5% in May, 15% in June, and a staggering 17% in July. Numbers not seen since the 2008 worldwide crash. Between 2019 and 2025, Las Vegas has destroyed everything that made it legendary through greed, short-term thinking, and a quiet corporate takeover. So how did it come to this? Well, turns out we might be witnessing the biggest crash. 2019, the peak of old Vegas. Before everything changed, there was 2019, the last truly golden year for Las Vegas. The city was alive like never before, with over 42 million people visiting that year. The casinos were packed, bars were overflowing, and that old Vegas spark, the one that made the city feel magical, was still shining bright. Back then, Vegas took care of you. If you gambled a little, they covered your dinner. And if you smiled at the bartender, your drink might have come a little stronger. It wasn't about apps, tracking systems, or algorithms. It was about people, real connections, real fun, real value, and deals were everywhere. You could grab a steak and eggs for just $5 or 3 drinks for 10 at Ocean's 1. Buffets were overflowing, rooms were affordable, and the Strip was alive from sunrise to sunrise. Vegas in 2019 still had soul. Walking down Las Vegas Boulevard, you could feel the energy. A mix of tourists, dreamers, hustlers, and entertainers all chasing the same thrill, a taste of the good life. Taxi drivers, dealers, and locals all felt it too. Business was booming, shows were selling out, and casinos were making record profits. It felt unstoppable. But what no one knew then was that 2019 would be the high point, the calm before the crash, because within months, the noise would fade, the lights would dim, and the city that never slept would fall silent. 2020, the year the music stopped. 2020 was the crash, and not a slow decline, but an instant blackout. 1 week, the Strip was bursting with life, and the next, it looked like a movie set after everyone had gone home. The fountains stopped dancing, the neon signs went dark, and the streets that once buzzed with laughter turned into long, empty stretches of silence. Even locals who had seen everything said they'd never witnessed anything like it. Vegas had survived recessions, scandals, and even mob wars, but it had never completely stopped until 2020.
It's a city that never sleeps, but now it's deserted in broad daylight. The main strip in Las Vegas is at a standstill. The 440 hotels and casinos in the city have closed their doors, and thousands of slot machines.
The lockdown didn't just close casinos. It froze the city's heartbeat. Tens of thousands of workers vanished overnight. Bartenders, dealers, performers, all gone. Entire resorts locked their doors, unsure if they'd ever open again. For those who stayed behind, walking down the Strip felt surreal, almost spiritual. It was like standing in a cathedral after the crowd had left, the sound of the wind echoing through buildings that once pulsed with loud music and money.
It's like an apocalypse, like everybody's...
When the lights finally came back on months later, people cheered, but something was different. Vegas came back, at least on paper, but its spirit wasn't the same as the shutdown didn't kill Las Vegas. It changed it forever. What came next was a wave of people risking every dime they had as if to make up for the lost time. 2020 to 2021, the stimulus tourist era. When Vegas finally reopened, it wasn't the grand comeback everyone hoped for. The lights were back, the music was playing, but something felt off. The familiar faces, loyal gamblers, couples celebrating anniversaries, retirees who came every spring, were missing as some were still too cautious to travel. Instead, a new wave of visitors arrived. Locals started calling them stimulus tourists. These were people armed with government checks, rent freezes, and months of accumulated boredom. They weren't there to play smart or enjoy the Vegas magic. They came to burn through their free money fast. For a few wild months, the city felt completely different. Room rates dropped to rock bottom levels just to keep hotels full, and that brought a whole new kind of trouble. Fights broke out on the Strip. Hotel rooms were trashed, casino security barely got a break, and workers who lived through it still say it was the strangest crowd Vegas had ever seen. People were drunk by noon, tossing chips like confetti, shouting at staff, and asking for freebies that didn't exist anymore. For a city built on controlled chaos, this was pure disorder. Sure, money was coming in again, but it came at a cost as Vegas's reputation took a hit. The energy that came back wasn't excitement anymore. It was desperation, And deep down, everyone knew it. And who knows better how to take advantage of desperate people than investment bankers? Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel to get updates on our next video about Las Vegas. 2021 to 2022, Wall Street gets involved. While most people were focused on the chaos happening on the Strip, something much bigger and quieter was happening behind closed doors. For decades, Las Vegas casinos were run by people who actually lived there. They knew everyone, from the regular players, the high rollers, the cocktail waitresses, even the locals who came by after work to play penny slots. But around 2021, that started to change. Big casino companies began selling off their land and buildings to huge investment firms, the kind that usually deal with office towers, stocks, and retirement funds, not slot machines. And just like that, Wall Street had finally moved into Vegas. On paper, it seemed harmless. The casinos would keep running as usual. But those deals came with a new kind of pressure, the pressure of quarterly reports, shareholder meetings, and profit targets. Suddenly, the city wasn't being run by casino bosses who loved Vegas. It was being run by finance guys who had never even walked through a sports book. Now, every inch of the Strip had to prove its worth because the investors wanted to see results. Every bar, table, and hotel room had to make money or be cut. Free parking? Gone. Cheap buffets? Gone. The old comp and reward system was replaced by digital tracking that measured your spending before deciding if you were valuable. That was the turning point when Vegas stopped feeling like Vegas and started feeling like an airport terminal with slot machines. The corporate era had arrived, and for the first time, Vegas wasn't about giving people a good time. It was about seeing how much they could take before they finally walked away. 2022, the year of revenge tourism. By 2022, the world had grown restless. After 2 long years of canceled trips and isolation, people were desperate to get out, spend money, and feel alive again, and no place promised that feeling better than Las Vegas. The city came roaring back to life as flights were packed, casinos were full, and restaurants were booked weeks ahead. Everyone called it revenge travel, since people didn't care what things cost, because they just wanted to make up for lost time. And Vegas took full advantage. Hotel room prices shot up, resort fees quietly increased, drink prices nearly doubled. Rooms that once cost $99 in 2019 were now going for $300, and people were still paying. To casino executives, it was proof that demand had no limits, and the more they charged, the more people seemed willing to spend. Revenue went up to record levels, with the Strip pulling in over $11 billion that year, the highest ever. But beneath the celebration, something darker was happening. The city had learned that greed worked since you could strip away the perks, raise prices sky high, and people would still smile for selfies under the neon lights. From then on, it wasn't about how do we bring people here anymore. It was how much can we get from them while they're here. And that's when they decided to raise prices on everything. 2023, the era of greed. By 2023, Las Vegas had crossed a line it could never come back from. The city that once gave you more for less had turned into a master at taking more while giving less. Everything came with a price tag. You weren't just paying for a hotel room anymore. You were paying for the privilege of being there. Resort fees hit record highs. Parking fees returned, even for guests already paying hundreds a night. Early check-in? Extra. Housekeeping? Extra. Need to print a boarding pass? That'll cost you too. The famous buffets that once showed Vegas's generosity were now luxury-priced experiences. A simple breakfast and coffee could cost over $40, and a bottle of water in your room went for $25. Casinos defended it all with words like dynamic pricing, market adjustments, and premium experience. But to regulars, it just looked like greed wrapped in neon lights. The loyal visitors who came every year started skipping trips, and locals began staying away from the Strip. Even the gamblers, the people who built Vegas, started to feel like the house didn't just want them to lose at the tables, but everywhere else too. And the sad truth, Vegas was making more money than ever, but it had never felt emptier. The laughter, the looseness, that old sense of escape, gone. In its place stood a cold corporate machine that knew exactly how much you'd pay before walking away. 2024, the cracks begin to show. By 2024, the cracks in Vegas's shiny image were too big to hide. The crowds were smaller, hotel rooms were still overpriced, and that old spark, the feeling that anything could happen, had faded. People started noticing, and social media made sure the whole world saw it. TikToks and YouTube videos went viral, showing everything from $25 water bottles and $40 breakfasts to $100 resort fees and broken escalators that led to so-called premium entrances. Travel vloggers didn't hold back either. Videos titled "Vegas Isn't Fun Anymore" racked up millions of views from people who once loved the city but now felt cheated. Even the most loyal visitors, the ones who made the trip every year like a tradition, started staying away. They asked the obvious question: why spend thousands for a weekend in Vegas when you could go to Mexico or Miami for less and actually feel valued? Yet all along, casinos denied there was a problem. On paper, profits still looked great, but if you talk to the people working the casino floors, they told a different story. It felt empty, not physically, but emotionally. Sure, tourists still came, but it wasn't the same kind of crowd. There was less laughter, less excitement, fewer big winners, and fewer people coming back. Vegas had become a once-and-done destination instead of a place people returned to year after year. The city tried to prove it was still the entertainment capital of the world. It hosted Formula One, massive conventions, and big-name concerts. But instead of reviving the old magic, those events only revealed how disconnected the city had become from everyone, including its locals, its workers, and its fans. Wasn't just trending online. It had become the truth for millions of former fans. Yet things didn't get any better, because the old energy of Vegas has never returned. 2025, the soulless corporate city. Today, the lights are still shining, the billboards still promise the world, and on the surface, Vegas looks alive. But if you walk down the strip, you can feel it. Something's missing. The crowds aren't what they used to be. Conventions and big events still draw people in, but the spaces between them tell another story. Empty walkways, quiet restaurants, dealers waiting at tables that never fill. Vegas hasn't gone silent. It's just hollow. Corporate Vegas has fully taken over, and almost every major resort is now owned or financed by the same few investment firms. The decisions that used to be made by people who lived and breathed the city are now made in faraway offices. Every inch of the strip has a price tag, and every part of the experience is designed to squeeze a little more profit. What took a century to build fell apart in just 6 years. The shutdown broke the rhythm, greed sealed the fate, and the corporations finished the job. Vegas didn't die. It just forgot how to live. Leave your thoughts in the comment section and click here to check out another video, and make sure to subscribe to my channel.